What's up everyone, welcome to today's video. We are so close to getting the rear diff back into the FD, but we also have to take care of some maintenance items underneath the car since majority of the drivetrain is out of the way. So let's get to it. So diff's out and now I just got to clean it. Again, there's a lot of junk on this. I already took the pleasure of taking out the crossmember mount because the bushings on it need to be replaced. So I ended up picking up the PowerFlex bushing, thicker shoulder on the outside and then a thinner shoulder on the inside. And it also comes with the grease to apply as well as the little dowel to put in the center. So should be pretty quick. All I have left to do right now is actually put everything back in. I'm still waiting on new axles, and I had another guy tell me like, hey, you're missing a bolt on your diff. And I looked at it a little bit further. PPF bolt that's supposed to go in here, a little tapered bolt. So I ordered that, waiting on that guy too. So once I can get everything in, start putting everything back in the car. Got the diff all cleaned up, as well as getting the bushings pushed into the crossmember. So next step will be replacing these axle seals. I already replaced it on this side. Fairly easy to do. I went ahead and bought this axle seal remover tool. This end goes into the diff, where this one will be on the outside, and you pretty much just pry it out. Yeah, that easy, and just pops right out. Already got all the new axle seals from Rotary. So all I'm going to do now is just go in here, pretty much clean this surface up, and then with the new seal, I'm going to lubricate the OD of the seal with just new gear oil. And when you go to put this bad boy back in, I pretty much just picked up this union because it fits pretty well on the ID here. So when you go to put it in, you want to make sure that the OD of the edges here are flush with the ID of the diff. And yeah, pretty much you put that on there, take your hammer, hit all four corners in, and it should snap right in. Last part with the diff is there's 8 14mm bolts here for the cover. Run those out, and then we're going to pop this guy off, inspect internals, make sure there's no excessive amount of metal on the inside of the pumpkin, and then pretty much put some fresh RTV in and slap it back together. Pop the cover off, took the 8 14mm bolts that were holding it together. So looking on the inside, it actually looks really good. The spur gears and the actual worm gear itself looks very good. So just spinning the ring and pinion and just inspecting, making sure that there's no big metal chunks missing. So everything looks very good. Another thing I noticed was it looks like this might have been opened up at some point in his lifetime, because there wasn't very much RTV on here. So that, possibly could be another reason why it was leaking pretty good. But as far as that, I'm just gonna get rid of some of this old RTV and then put some new RTV sealant all the way around. Good 1/4 inch bead bolt holes as well. And I'll put the cover back on. The cover itself, looks good. I'm probably gonna clean it up with some brake clean and get some of this old garnish off of it. So got the new RTV on. Per the instructions, it says to just hand tight the fasteners. So it says hand tight it, let the RTV bulge for like, once you get everything down. I pretty much went through the whole thing and kind of just scraped off the excess. But it says finger tight it, let it dry for about an hour, then after that hour come back and torque everything down, and you should be good to go. Torque specs are 26 to 38 foot-pounds of torque. So good thing practice is to do it in a crosshatch formation too before you slap this on. Is make sure that this is still breathable. So what I did is just I took this off, sprayed a little bit of brake clean in there, dried it up, and so I put it in my mouth, and if you're able to push air through but not suck air in, it's good. So that's just, you want to make sure that's breathable, because if it's not, it's coming out everywhere else. Next, we'll be going under the car to wrap up some maintenance items. I got a fuel filter as well as a new output shaft seal for the transmission. We will definitely get into this guy. I have a problem with the Mazda with this design. The output shaft seal, as you can see here, I don't know if you guys can see this, but there's like these little, I guess, bumps. So there's one up here, two down here, and it's labeled up and then down. So 12 o'clock position, 6 o'clock when you put it into the output shaft system. And there's also a hole down here. So I'm guessing at some point, if it does leak in, it'll leak through here, and you'll know that you'll need to replace this. When you also get down to replacing this guy, I already pre-lubed this up with some fresh gear oil. So when the old one comes out and you go put the new one in, make sure you do this or you're gonna have a hard time. I picked this guy up just because it fits the OD of what needs to be hammered onto the output shaft of the transmission. So this will go here, and then obviously you're gonna hammer on here until it just gets flat onto the transmission. Transmission sealer here. So just some tips for you guys. It's pretty easy. You just have to get a flathead in there and pop it out. But you want to make sure you don't go up and in. You kind of want to go up and out. So I already got it pretty much like halfway through. So when this bad boy comes out, you definitely want to clean up the inside here. And then with the new seal, make sure you lubricate the side that's going into the transmission with some fresh gear oil. And then take something that will fit on the outside of the OD of the new seal and then tap it in. It'll be in pretty much when this surface is flush with the end of the transmission. Alright, so I was going to talk to you guys about this little pet peeve of, I don't know why Mazda did this. Right here is your fuel filter. Let me show you where it's located on this car. I don't know why Mazda decided to put the fuel filter right here, because guess what goes right here? Your diff. So now you don't have really any access to get to doing the replacement. So it just makes it super difficult, because you have your two lines, you're in and you're out, and then it's attached to this like brace, which is held on by like two 10 mils. But why would they put that there? Like, there's seriously, on the FC, it's on the driver's side frame rail. And, you know, looking in that area, I'm just like, well, there's enough like room to put it there, so why back here? But I'm not an engineer. I'm just kind of like, I'm sure they just overthought it and thought this was the best spot. But I'm also gonna put like 2 videos on the, I guess, top right hand side of Hauser Tech. He has a video on how to replace the fuel filter with everything still here. And I believe you got to come through the passenger rear to get to it. And then Icon Garage has a video where he actually, same thing, he doesn't like where it's placed, so he relocated it to in front of the subframe here. Alright, so I cleaned up the brace that was holding the fuel filter. So here's the chassis mount bracket, and then your fuel filter bracket. So you have to loosen up. There's 3 10 mil bolts. 2 for the chassis, and then there's 1 to tighten the brace down on the actual filter. So, but you got to move the chassis one first to expose the 10 mil that's on here. And another thing to note too is that there's kind of like these 3 ribs that are on here. So they correspond with the 3 indentations on here. So just make a mental note of that, so when you go to do yours, you're not like, oh, what's this for? Got the diff mount torque down. Initial torque is 69 foot-pounds, final torque is 86 foot-pounds, and it wouldn't be a completed diff without new washers and a film drain plug. Since I pummeled these CV axles when I was getting these out, I ended up picking up some new GSP axles. I hear from the reviews that they're really good. So here are the new axles. Home stretch, baby. We got the diff in. I just got the mounts finger tight. We're almost there. Home stretch. Well, everything's in, but I'm freaking exhausted. Highly recommend. You need 2 people to do this job. This sucks trying to do it by yourself. I tried to make, or I wanted to make this very like, you know, informational as much as I could, but I'm just gonna give you guys a rundown because it was rough. The power plant frame is in, the braces are installed, axles are in. I cleaned up the guards as much as I could. Driveline's in. So yeah. I do have to say is if you are gonna do this by yourself, don't fight the transmission side. Install the PPF on the diff side first. So with that being said, like install your axles obviously first, and then when you have everything buttoned down, then go ahead and try to put it on the transmission side, because I actually tried leaving the jack off the trans and it didn't sag as much as I thought it was going to. So when you push this up, obviously the diff side will pop up too as well. So get everything on. I'm not too sure if you're going to run a brace like I did, but get everything on, get everything finger tight, and then once you get everything finger tight here, you can come back over here and then tighten everything down and tighten that all down too. Then put your drive line in last, because trust me, you're going to want to do this. And there's also like a silver, like a cover shield here that I'm going to install here in a little bit, but I just wanted to show you guys with what it looks like with it off, so you can obviously put the drive shaft into the output shaft, and then tighten all the 14 mils here down. So with these aftermarket axles, it's a different size, so the 35 that was off the torque specs in the description below. The Axel Nut, I believe, is like 170 to 230 foot-pounds. So yeah, I'll be sure to leave all that stuff in there for everyone so you guys can reference the video in the description. That wraps up everything in this saga with the drivetrain. Don't forget to, if you guys enjoyed this, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, obviously. But now we can finally put the power adders on, all the fun stuff. So yeah, stay tuned.